there's been a lot that's gone wrong on this job. There's been a lot that's gone right. There's been a ton of challenges. I'm at the finish line. The customers are going to get back in their house. They're going to get to spend Christmas in their house. I'm going to turn over this beautiful project to them. So I'm just trying to push through. What's going on, guys and girls? Hope everyone had a nice holiday break. I did. It was busy, but I didn't have work. Kind of didn't have work. But we had a lot going on. Did a lot, almost no downtime, which I would have preferred a little bit more. But we had a good holiday break. It was nice to step away from work for a little bit, spend some time with the girls, with the family. They had half days leading up to Thanksgiving break. And then they had off all day Wednesday, so Rachel had her hands full because I'm looking to close this job out, and I've been working long hours and long days and working a lot. So she had them pretty much single-handedly leading up to Thanksgiving, and then some during the break. So I'm sure she was looking forward to them getting back to school. But I wasn't. I was sad when I had to go back to work on Monday, but I'm about a week out from closing this project out. A couple of bigger things left to do, and then just a bunch of punch list items. I keep a running punch list in my phone, in my notes that I can share with Justin. And whenever anything comes up, I can add to it, just so I don't forget as we're closing this job out what needs to be done, what's outstanding. But this time next week, I'll be looking to turn this job over to electrician, plumber, and then cleaners. So getting to the home stretch here, I'll be working some long days, some long hours, but it is the finish line is in sight now. So I'm excited to be wrapping this up, take a little bit of time off. But this podcast and blog post, I really just wanted to brief you guys. I've had a lot of serious podcasts. I've had a lot of informational podcasts. I just wanted to hop on here and tell you what I did over break. First off, I mentioned this on the main podcast as well. I want to thank Logan Rolfe. So Logan sent me more coffee from a company called Onyx that he found. He sent me this airship coffee, and then he sent me that. I mean, this is like super cool. This geometry coffee, really well packaged, nice coffee, like boutique coffee. But then even cooler. I mean, listen, coffee is really, really cool, and I'm super appreciative. But he also sent me, on one of the other podcasts, I was talking about how I use mechanical pencils, and I really like traditional pencils, very similar to what we got made by Musgrave for Modern Craftsman. If you haven't seen them, there are some here. Geez, I need to shave looking at myself. I'm like a hairy beast right now. These are those Musgrave pencils. They turned out really cool. Thank you to everyone who's been purchasing these. There's still some up on the website, so if you haven't, check out moderncraftsman.co and grab yourself some made in America number 2 pencils. But Logan wrote a nice little note here for me explaining the coffee, and then also what he uses for a pencil, which is a number 2 pencil, and then he wraps the end in a rubberized electrical tape, so if he's holding it in his mouth, he doesn't hurt his teeth. And then he also sent me a bunch of these clips that are for pens, so if I don't have a hat on, I can clip this to my shirt or my belt, wherever need be, that I can use normal pencils and not have to use mechanical. And then he sent me some high polymer erasers, and then this is really cool. Let's see what brand he said it is. Mobius and Rupert pencil sharpener. So it's this fully brass knurled pencil sharpener that's made in Germany, that does a really nice job of sharpening the pencils, better than my other one. But he said he always keeps one of these in his front pocket. So thank you to Logan for the coffee, for the note. Super sweet, super nice. And the pencil, really cool to have people reach out and do that for me. So it's really appreciated. Obviously, if you guys want to send me gifts and coffee, I will take them all day long. But honestly, all kidding aside, the note is what makes this a handwritten note. Thank you, Logan. This is really super cool. Coming from Northwest Arkansas. I appreciate it. Really awesome. So this podcast really is just going to be about Thanksgiving break. I've been working a lot, so I was able to step away from the job some, but I wasn't fully able to mentally detach just because what's going on. I had the floors getting redone on the job, so there was still work happening at the job even on Thanksgiving, um, and just it's a stressful time wrapping this job up. So I wasn't fully able to detach, and we had a pretty busy weekend, but I still think that it was a nice break, a nice bit of time away from work, away from the job. That was a little bit of a break I needed before the next 10 day or so push to close this job out. Um, so I worked Wednesday, and then obviously Thursday was a holiday. So typically for Thanksgiving, we're heading up to Rachel's parents' house in upstate New York, which is a little bit south of Albany, like 30 miles south of Albany, um, in the Catskill region of New York, near Hudson. It's about 35 or so minutes from Hunter and Wyndham Ski Mountains. It's about 3.5 hours from us. But her dad, I'm sure a lot of you know, has been terminally ill, and has been fighting pancreatic cancer, which is untreatable, the type that he has and where he has it. So he's on chemo is every 2 weeks. It's every 3 weeks now, but he can't drive for that long, and he gets really tired. So we opted out of going up this year because he had chemo treatment at the beginning of the week. So we ended up just having her parents at our house, on Thursday. Wednesday night, since we weren't going to see my family, I went and I took the girls to my dad's house with his wife, and her family was there. So we saw them. They saw the girls. We ate dinner. Rachel just got the house in order and got some things done that she needed to for Thanksgiving. And then we just had a pretty low key day here. I got some dirt bike maintenance done on Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure Rachel has photos of me oiling air filters after dinner, before dessert, um, in the kitchen, while Thanksgiving dinner may or may not have still been on the table. Um, but earlier in the week, Selby had asked me if we could go riding. Um, while she had these half days from school, and I was like, listen, I can't do it during the week. Like, I can't do it Monday through Wednesday this week. Thursday's a holiday. How about we go out Friday? So we went out Friday. This summer we got her a new bike. We put her on a KX65. So she came off a Honda CRF 70, which is just a little 4-stroke trail bike, basically an automatic. It has 3 gears, but it is, what is the name for it? I can't remember it right now. I'll remember it. The gears you don't need. Oh, it's a centrifugal clutch. So you can just shift it without a clutch. Realistically, for the most part, she would just put it in second gear and ride in second gear. So it was like an automatic, a heavy bike, drum brakes, crappy suspension. And then we moved her up to a KX65, which is actually a motocross bike. So it's a 2-stroke, has a power band, a clutch, 6-speed manual transmission. So we put her on that this summer, and she just progressed a lot, as a rider, become more confident, gotten a lot faster. The bike is more complicated, but it's very light. It has great suspension. It has disc brakes. So for riding trails and what we do, we built it, to be able to lug a little bit more than a motocross bike, and it works well out in the woods, and she loves it. She's doing really well with it. So we went out on Friday, and we also just got these headsets that wire into our helmets, so I can talk to her while we're riding. If she falls, she can let me know that she fell, so I'm not constantly looking back. I can tell her when I come up on a log in the trail, or if we're making a hard turn, or if there's something that could, bite her, or create an issue for her. So that was the first time just us had gone out with them, just the two of us, and it worked really well. I enjoyed it. I thought initially I wasn't going to, because I don't like to have people in my head, and I like quiet when I'm riding. But it worked out really well, and she did great. things that would trip her up, I was able to warn her about how she could come up to a log and square it up, or where there was one, or if there was mud, or if there's something that she wanted to go around on the trail. So it worked out really well. I would definitely recommend it if you ride with your kid. She has a tendency to sing a lot. And I love her to death. She does a lot of things really well, including riding a dirt bike, but she's not a good singer. So I end up turning my volume way down, essentially. So if she has an emergency, she can holler and I can pay attention and hear her, but I'm not hearing her sing the entire time. Um, so we ended up riding 15 miles, a pretty tight trail, which is a lot for her. You know, a lot of times I'll go out and do 20 miles by myself, but 15 miles for a little kid is good. It's a good amount of trail. Um, Saturday, I actually had a memorial ride for my Enduro club. So there's a guy in the club who goes out, and over the year he'll cut trail in the forests where his family members, who had since passed away, had ridden, and a bunch of other club members. And then once a year, we have other club rides, but once a year he gets everyone together Thanksgiving weekend, and we go out and we ride this trail that he cut in these woods that a lot of these old members had ridden growing up. So he goes out, and most of the legwork is done himself, and then he has some people help trim and ribbon and arrow, and then just burn in the trail, beat in the trail a little bit. So I had that on Saturday, and it wound up being around 50 miles. So that was fun. I was definitely burnt. I had a pretty good spill, one of my best spills in a while. I was on just a straightaway in a trail, and pretty far over the bars, standing, going from second to third gear, and uh, it felt as though I hit a stump. There's obviously a ton of leaves down in New Jersey in the woods right now. So nothing that I could see in this trail. I was just in a straightaway, and it felt as though I hit a stump, maybe a log. The only thing I saw looking back, there's a bunch of people behind me, so I couldn't really see everything. But there was a log, but it was buried under the leaves. Whatever I hit, it immediately ejected me over my bars. The guy behind me told me my bike was fully upside down and sideways. Um, I was in the air for long enough to remember being in the air and thinking, I hope I don't hit anything. But I a couple of bumps and bruises, but nothing major. Got back up, rode the rest of the day. Had a good day. It was fun. I always enjoy getting out this time of year. We had good weather. Probably 2 dozen guys showed up. We had two groups, a faster, younger group, and then an older, little bit slower group. And yeah, it was a good time. Again, like 50 miles. I was on my 200 or my 300 two-stroke, and it's just a really nice time of year to be out in the woods and spend some time out riding. So then Saturday when I got home, um, cleaned up my bikes, and Rachel had taken the girls to go pick up a Christmas tree, which I had major dad guilt about when I was going on this ride. Initially, I was like, yeah, fine, go take them. So normally we get the tree when we're up in New York for this weekend, but since we didn't go to New York, the girls were asking when we were going to go get it. We were going to get it Friday night. The place that we thought was open till 7 was not open, so we drove out there. They didn't have a tree, so the girls wanted to get a tree. So Rachel's like, "I'll go Saturday when you're at this ride," and I said that's fine by me. Um, and then when I was driving there, I'm like, "How many Christmases am I going to have the opportunity to cut a tree down with the kids?" And I'll be completely honest, I'm not the biggest Christmas person. Maybe more of a Grinch or a Scrooge than really super festive Christmas person. It's a mental thing for me. The end of the year wrapping up and not working. Usually I'm struggling a little bit from a mental perspective around Christmas, New Year's time, and getting older. My birthday. So I was like, yeah, you can go get the tree. And then I started thinking, how many Christmases am I going to have an opportunity to go get the tree with my kids? And then I was like, you know what? Normally it just stresses me out because they're fighting over which tree. I don't really enjoy it anyway. And so I was like internally battling if it was okay. Should I feel guilty? Am I missing out on an experience with my kids? And all I ended up doing was telling my wife how I was feeling. I called my daughters and I spoke to them when I was already on the road because I left early and said, "Hey, if this is something that you really want me to come for, I'll make arrangements to do that." And they were like, "No, it's no big deal. We're going to go with mommy," which I knew they would say anyway, but maybe that made me feel better. Once I got riding, I somewhat forgot about it. But I got home to a massive tree on top of Rachel's car that she drug out of the woods by herself, which is pretty impressive. They went to a farm, so it wasn't really the woods, but she had it loaded on the top of her car. I cut like a foot and a half it off. We have a 10 and a half foot ceilings on our first floor, so the tree was probably 12 feet. I cut it. It was like 10'6" with the star touching the ceiling. And it was huge, like a very robust, healthy tree, definitely our biggest tree. And I was like, I don't know, typical asshole thing to do. I was like, the one time I let you go get the tree without me, it's way too big, because I was struggling with it, like to get it up, to fit it in the space. And the stand that we have is just like a plastic stand. It's big, but if you have an 11-foot tall tree that's like 6 feet wide, if that tree goes any which way, it's not going to hold up. So they were basically done trimming the tree, putting the lights on, and the entire tree fell over, fully decorated, full lights. And I was in the other room and was like, what was that? Tilly was absolutely traumatized because I feel that she may have had something to do with it. We got the tree back up. Only 2 ornaments had broke. We had to obviously clean the water up, fixed 1 string of light bulbs, got it back up, got the stand back on, weighted it down with some of Rachel's 25-pound dumbbells. And then they cleaned up. So that was Saturday night. Tilly was just absolutely a mess that the tree fell. Selby started laughing. She's like, "Oh, you know what? This is something that we'll definitely always remember." And I was like, "Yeah, she has a point." So I usually spend most of the time sitting on the couch. I fix fuses that are broken. I reach spots on the tree that can't be reached. I help move lights around. I get yelled at a lot. Because I point directions out, and then my wife's like, "You sat there and didn't do anything the whole time, and now you want to tell me where to put this, or that we shouldn't do that, or that the lights aren't filled here." But that's usually my thing. I just sit on the couch and I watch them fight and bicker, and then interject, and then get yelled at. So Sunday, we ended up going to my brother's house. He just moved down south of us. It's like 45 minutes or so south of us. Down to Piles Grove, New Jersey. So they also just had their second baby, another baby girl. So I have an older brother who has 2 daughters, and then I have an older sister who has 3 daughters and 1 son. And then one of my younger brother has 2 daughters, and then my other younger brother doesn't have any kids. So I'm one of 5. The 2 youngest are identical twins. One of them is married and has kids. The other is single. So in my family, there were 4 boys and 1 girl. And so far, all of the grandkids are 2, 4, 6, 9 girls and 1 boy. So we do not make boys. I don't think that whoever's in charge of all this wants the Grace name living on, at least not through my family, because I'm not having any more kids. And I don't think my other 2 brothers are. My sister can't carry the Grace name on, so it's left to my one brother, who at this point is 35 and single. So I'm not sure if he's having kids. So maybe this is where it all ends. But Sunday we went to visit him, visit his wife, see their new house. They just moved and had a kid. Perfect timing. Grab some food. The girls play with the nieces. So Selby is 10, Tilly is 7, Darla is 2, and their new baby Lila's a newborn. So Tilly had a blast being the big cousin and taking care of the girls, and Selby just hauled the baby. Rachel obviously was in heaven holding a brand new newborn baby. If she could, I'm pretty sure she would have breastfed the baby. It was nice to spend some time with my brother, see his new property. and just spend some time with the cousins. I've been so busy, and life has been so busy, and things are busy with the kids and sports, athletics, school, extracurriculars, neighbors. It's really hard to set time aside to spend time with family as much as you can. So it was nice to spend a little time with them. And with the new baby and see the new property. And I'm happy for them. They have a lot going on, and they're making a good run at life. And it was nice to see. So realistically, it was just a crazy busy holiday. I somewhat expected that, and it's usually the case. But um, I was not necessarily looking forward to Monday because I knew it was going to be this next stretch of this job. Is I'm turning it over next Thursday. The cleaners come, and then the movers come on Friday. So I'm really turning this job over in a little over a week. So I knew it was going to be a mad dash with some long days and a lot of stress closing this project out. I'm hoping that things continue to go relatively smoothly because there's nothing worse than closing a job out and just getting super stressed out because you're like, this should have taken 10 minutes and now it's 2 hours and I don't have enough time for this. So um, I'm just really trying to get through this, keep my head up. I know that there's been a lot that's gone wrong in this job. There's been a lot that's gone right. There's been a ton of challenges, but I'm at the finish line. The customers are going to get back in their house. They're going to get to spend Christmas in their house. I'm going to turn over this beautiful project to them. So I'm just trying to push through with Justin and get through this. Unfortunately, he's going away the rest of this week. So I only had him for 2 days this week. So the next 3 days I'm on my own, looking to punch a decent amount of this job out. And I think that I'm going to wait until next week. I'll work on mostly the touch-up paint from getting the floors refinished and repainting the staircase and stuff like that. So as long as I can get like the work, punch out work, tool work done leading into this week, and I'll be confident that we can punch the paint work out next week before I get my subs in there. Um, so yeah, I'm excited about that. It's been a long 6 months. There's been a ton of challenges. There continues to be a ton of challenges, but all I can do is try and work through these things. Lean on my team of subs, my network of people, and continue to really devote myself to the customers and ensure that they're happy with everything that's going on. So that is what's getting me through this right now. And then at that point, I have some little things going on before the holidays kick in, and then I'm going to take a little bit of time off because I put off way too much in my life to try and wrap this up. I put off jobs, I put off stuff with my own house, I put off stuff with my family, things that I've just needed to get done that I've needed to close this job out, and it's continued to grow, grow, grow. So I just haven't had a chance to step back and get some things done. So I'm really, really looking forward to spending some time to get like my life in order and get things organized and back in check. Um, it's felt as though this job, especially the last month or so, has really consumed me, and I've just put off everything else in my life. And this is very similar to what I used to do on a regular basis with all of my jobs. And I feel as though I'm right back there. And I know that this is short lived. I know that this is facing a deadline to get these customers in, but I don't love putting everything off, even jobs that are coming up, not having enough time to get things in order to get the next job going. It's like I just need to close this out and keep my head above water and focus on closing this out. I can't do anything for the future right now. So I'm going to take some time to just make sure everything's in order. Some things have been put off, and I need a little bit of downtime mentally and physically while I catch up on some smaller things. So that's going to close out my year. Coming in on New Year, it'll be a year worth of doing this midweek podcast. So everyone who's been along for the ride, I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the coffee, the pencils, the notes, the emails. I still get emails, weekly text messages. I got 2 text messages yesterday from listeners, how appreciative they are for the podcast, the midweek, the main Modern Craftsman, everything that I'm doing. And I've really devoted a ton of time to this past year. Um, a lot of time, more time than I ever have. And it's nice to see that it's not going unnoticed and that it's serving its purpose and bringing value to you listeners. So I appreciate that so much. What else? I guess the only thing that's left is sponsors. So thank you to Andersen Windows for sponsoring this podcast. On our project, I just had Justin yesterday, literally yesterday, pull the plastic off all of those 400 series windows that we put in the sunroom or like the dining room off the kitchen. And I walked, it was late last night by the time the plastic came down. They're really nice big windows. The amount of glass versus frame on these windows by how big these double hungs are is crazy. So I walk into not having the plastic and the decals on them, and I thought that I left the windows open. Coming into the job, I was like, oh no, I left the windows open all last night. But it was just that there was nothing on the windows. And looking outside, there's just such a nice view through these windows. The 400 series windows, honestly, the bang for your buck that you get, like the cost that you get, the cost of the windows versus what you get, it's a really good deal. So check them out, andersenwindows.com. Also, this podcast is brought to you by my good friends at Kuiken Brothers. I want to show you guys this. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is the Kuiken Brothers Molding and Millwork catalog. Order one of these. You can get them online, but order one. Have a hard copy. It has all of the line drawings. It has all of the item numbers. If you want to order anything, it has every collection that you could buy, so it'll organize them from collection. But this is such a great catalog, right? It'll show you how, like, the drawings for how to build these built-up crowns. And again, if you're pricing a job out or you're looking at a job or you need to order stuff, it has every single item number for you to order, which makes it really easy. I prefer this to trying to find something on my computer and having multiple tabs open. This is just really convenient for me. So reach out to them, go on their website. You can order one of these molding and millwork catalogs. Do it. Do it now. Don't wait. KuikenBrothers.com. All right, guys. I'll catch you next week. Thank you.